following presentation focuses on the importance of properly evaluating information technology investments. This presentation was prepared and narrated for Dr. Lemmy's Health Information Systems class. Information in this slideshow comes from Dr. Lemmy's class website, as well as the Department of Veteran Affairs Office of Budget website. Any information technology investment must carefully be evaluated for cost efficiency and return on investment before its purchase and implementation. Due to the highly complex nature of most IT projects, especially electronic health records, if they are not properly evaluated prior to purchase, they can lead to failure and substantial monetary loss. Many examples exist in which a costly IT investment flopped, subsequently losing a company millions of dollars. The grand scale of IT losses was estimated to be $130 billion by all U.S. firms in 2002, as reported by USA Today. Such impressive losses suggest that the problems revolving around failed IT projects do not result from mismanagement, but rather the inherent way that it was originally. As proposed by Dr. Lemmy, the most accurate means of investigating information technology investments are by a top-down approach. Such a method begins with total organizational costs. To allow for a complete picture of the costs, start from the top and break the total organization into IT costs, including the IT department and functional units within the organization towards IT. This analysis consists of four steps. First, data must be compiled over at least 3 time periods. This data specifically must include all money spent in IT, how widespread the use of IT is, and lastly, the company's total revenue. After all data is collected, the actual analysis can begin. To start analyzing, the association between IT costs, use, and revenue must be evaluated. Specifically, in this example, the correlations were plotted on scatter graphs to visualize the correlation. A large correlation should exist between any 2 of the variables, and if this is found to be true, the analysis can continue on to the third step. This step examines the direction of cause and effect. Either investments into IT may lead to more IT use and thus greater revenue within the company, or vice versa, with revenue gains resulting in increased IT investments and then increased use. Pairwise correlations reveal which path is correct. If in fact IT investments have led to an increased revenue, then the final step can take place in which the return on investment of the IT investment is calculated. This new approach will be demonstrated by using information regarding VISTA. VISTA stands for the Veterans Health Information System and Technology Architecture. VISTA is the electronic medical record system used in all Veteran Affairs (VA) hospitals, as well as other medical facilities throughout the U.S. In particular, VISTA is the most widely used electronic medical record, as the VHA, Veterans Health Administration, is the largest medical system in the U.S., providing health care to nearly 6 million people. VISTA originated from the Decentralized Hospital Computer Program and has grown into an award-winning system today, with components such as a graphical user interface, computer. The data presented here comes from the Department of Veterans Affairs from August 2007. This table shows information from over a span of 7 fiscal years. Specifically, this includes the budget of the Office of Information, which is referred to as the Information Technology or IT budget. Also is the VHA Cost Per Patient Index, which is referred to as the Cost Per Patient Index and interpreted as the increased revenue. In the final column is the number of records in VISTA, which is interpreted as the use of IT throughout the following analysis. This first scatter graph shows the correlation between the IT budget and the Cost Per Patient Index by using the information from the previous table. Derived from the trend line of this graph is the correlation, seen as R to the right of the graph. As the correlation is 0.796, it is very close to 1.0, and thus a strong relationship exists between the increase in the IT budget and an increase in the Cost Per Patient Index. Here, we look at the correlation between the number of VISTA records and the Cost Per Patient Index. The relatively low number of 0.321 shows a minimal relationship between the two. The final graph shows the correlation between the number of VISTA records and the IT budget. The correlation is notable, but less than that between the IT budget and cost per patient index. The actual correlation is 0.585, about. After finding the correlations, we can move on to the third step of analysis and determine the causation between the IT investment and revenue gains. As discussed in the method on analysis, there are two possible pathways. First, the growth in IT budget may have led to an increase in IT use, or number of VISTA records, and a subsequent decrease in the cost per patient index. The second pathway shown is that from a lesser cost per patient index to greater IT investment and thus more IT use. After plugging in the derived correlations to the shown formulas, the pathway which resulted in an answer closest to zero is the actual causation. As shown at the bottom of this slide, the closer causation is that in which a decrease in cost per patient index eventually led to a greater IT budget and therefore a greater use of. Finally, the method we use is not 100% void of error. Some limitations include a limitation in time periods. Although 3 time segments were used, if more are available, they should be used to create an even more accurate picture of the company. Furthermore, not all necessary data will always be available, thus creating more room for possible error. Yet, this method also presents many compelling strengths. First, it considers the total revenue of the firm, and therefore automatically accounts for side effects. Also, the derived correlations accurately and appropriately direct the attention to the causation of events.